seat up a little bit more. Now that you can
Do what now?
take your seat up, so.
He's trying to tell me I'm not tall.
Oh, the seat's not tall enough. It's down.
Yeah, it is lower than this one. It's right here.
Wait a minute. High it'll go.
All right, whenever you guys are ready.
Whenever we're ready.
Want me to give you a countdown?
And if we make a mistake, we can just make the mistake and start over from wherever it's at, and we can edit it out, right?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the video version of Texas Biker Radio. My name is Mel Moss, and my co-host, Mel Robbins. We're both with the Texas, and I've already goofed it up.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're both with the Texas U.S. Defenders. Is that right?
No.
Shit. Help me get that out.
Let's see. What do you
Okay.
you wanting?
Texas U.S. Defenders. What is the name right there? Legislative Task Force.
Yep.
All right.
Strike Force or Task Force? Both, really. Either.
Strike Force.
Strike Force last time, so it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think it's Strike.
Let me Google it real quick. Because you were kicking yourself for doing it wrong last time. Was it wrong
Well, actually, there's both.
one? Is there?
Yeah, there's a Legislative Strike Force and a Task Force.
Legislative Strike Force.
Yeah.
Well, we're rolling, so you guys, keep going.
Okay. My name is Mel Moss, and I'm with my co-host, My name is Mel Moss, and I'm with my co-host, Mel Robbins. We're both with the Texas...
The outtakes will be priceless.
Really?
Well, the cough drops even clearing
Okay.
up my voice.
My name is Mel Moss, and I'm with my co-host, Mel Robbins. We're both with the U.S. Defenders, Texas Legislative Strike Force, and we are going to talk today about why is it important that bikers get involved politically. And we're both also with the Sons of Liberty Riders RC, and we are a politically connected motorcycle club that, and I got that wrong too. God dang it.
Well, just keep going. No, don't start all over. We'll flash an image up there and edit it in.
Okay, well, after Legislative Strike Force, we'll just start out, okay? Today we're here to talk about reasons that motorcyclists should be involved politically and become a powerhouse on the political scene. The numbers are there for us to do it. The structure is there for us to do it through U.S. Defenders. And we're going to give you today some reasons to get involved. Bikers, motorcyclists, whatever terms you want to use for us, we're the last free spirits in America. We're the riders of the iron horses and masters of the open road. As we all know, the federal government is out of control. Our federal, state, and local governments are larger than they've ever been in history. Their main objective is to grow and have control over every aspect of our lives. For the government to maintain and continue to grow, they must find ways to tax us, because government makes nothing of value It makes no products. What they do is spend, and it's both parties, all of them involved. What they do is they're spending this into oblivion. You know, it wasn't long ago that the president said he must have a civilian army as strong as our armed forces. And you know what? He's got them. They're called Homeland Security, the TSA, the ATF, the DEA, the IRS, the EPA, the Department of Energy, the NEA, and the National Park Service. And they all have their own police forces, including SWAT teams. And we're talking about the National Education Agency. What do they need a SWAT team for? But the worst of all these agencies are nameless, faceless bureaucrats by the tens of thousands of them. Their job is to make rules and regulations. You see, they have to justify their jobs. And they are probably the worst. Let's see, let me see it this way. These folks are the most dangerous to our ways of life and the things we love as bikers. And Mel, you want to make some comments out of what I just said?
Sure. What you said about bikers is true. They're all freedom-loving, non-political animals, basically, and independent by nature. That's what a biker is. However, a lot of you bikers out there are veterans. That's how the motorcycle clubs got started. And lest we not forget how you became a veteran, it was all about freedom. You know, it's all about freedom. Veterans, motorcycle clubs, everything. And freedom's not free. It doesn't come free by nature, just by the virtue of human nature. There are always people out there that want to control, they want to be in control, they want to tell you what to do, they want to tell us what they think is best for us. And this price that we pay for freedom, or the prices that have been paid in the past, it's an ongoing process. Nobody ever said, hey, this account is paid in full. It's, you got to keep paying. There are dues to be paid day after day. And it's attained only through constant involvement in issues, vigilance, and sacrifice. That sacrifice has been paid in blood through the ages by those patriots who understood what freedom's all about and were willing to pay through revolutions and wars. You know, our Constitution begins with "we the people." And that's what the premise of our country is built on. In order for our freedoms to continue, not only for us, but for our children, loved ones, and friends, we have to stay involved. We have to be engaged. The problem is that because we as bikers are so freedom-loving, we're almost to the point of being antisocial. We think we can sit back, take a free pass, but the problem is, while we're doing this, things are happening. And I'll use the analogy, and Mel's heard me say this many times. They talk about the analogy of the frog in the beaker in the biology class. If you take a frog, meaning you and me, put us in a beaker of lukewarm water, and slide that over on a Bunsen burner, we're going to sit there just happy as hell as a frog, and the water's going to keep getting warmer, and we're not going to notice it. And pretty soon it's going to boil, and we're going to be dead. Now is the time for all bikers to sit back and think about, especially you older guys, think about everything you were able to do as a child. Hell, I can remember throwing a pellet rifle on the back of my bicycle and a sleeping bag and heading out for the hills in San Francisco. Doing a little hunting, spend the night with my buddies, and I'm talking, I was like 10, 11 years old. Never a problem. Nobody had to worry about that stuff. How many of you would want to send your kid out today in this environment that we're living in, this cesspool, to do the same thing? We're sitting there and we're boiling to death because nobody is getting involved. Getting involved is really simple, guys. Really simple. We know there's at least 200,000 of you out there here in Texas, and we know that because there are over 400,000 motorcycles registered. If we were to say everyone owns at least 2 motorcycles, and we know that's not necessarily true, that cuts it to 200,000. According to the driver's licenses, there's far less than that in the state. However, we know most of you don't have a motorcycle endorsement. Which brings up another point, and I hate it when I hear it, but people say to ride or drive is a privilege. BS. That is my God-given right, and it is your God-given right, and don't let anyone ever tell you it's a privilege, because it's not. It's your right. But they make it into a privilege, and we allow them to say that, and we shouldn't. I won't get into my beliefs on licensing and things like that because we could go on and on for that for hours. But the issue is we know there's at least 200 motorcyclists out there, probably closer to 300,000. We need the numbers. Nothing scares politicians more than numbers. And getting involved is as simple as just showing up. Be another body. We've got Legislative Day coming, Mel.
Yes, we do.
On January 25th and 26th. Well, the 25th, we're all going to arrive and, I guess, party a little bit.
That's right.
And then Monday morning on the 26th, we're going to meet over at the Capitol. There'll be some speakers on the steps and things like that. But the massive numbers, if we can get a few thousand of you down to Austin, and those politicians see a few thousand bikers standing out there in vests, they're going to see doctors, lawyers, they're going to see hardcore riders. They'll see a lot of different people, but they're going to see big numbers, and that scares the hell out of a politician.
Mel, here recently I was made a U.S. Defenders Commander, Region 2, and as a person that's been involved in politics at least the last 13 years, since 2001, let me tell you guys, one of the best things I've learned is we're not to waste time. Because we floundered around out there quite a while before we learned how to win races, before we learned how to knock a politician out of office. There are ones you can deal with, there are ones you can't deal with, and there are for certain reasons for that, and that's all about numbers. These congressmen and senators at the federal level, we can't do anything with them, and they know it. The chances of knocking them out of office or persuading them one way or the other, besides what they or their party's thinking, it's just not there to do. We don't have the numbers. It's all a numbers game. But where we can have the most effect, and Ted Cruz has told us this, the battle is in the State House. Those guys win by narrower margins. Their districts aren't as big. We can take it to the House. And we need your help to do it. And that's one reason we need you there on Legislative Day down there at the state capitol on the 26th. You know, the flyers that we'll be getting over the next couple of days, those needs to be in every motorcycle shop across Texas. And you know, I get out and talk to as many bikers as I can about it in the time I have. And of course, I spent the day down at the Capitol building on opening day, meeting as many people and doing everything I could to make sure that those legislators know about our two bills that are coming at them. The U.S. Defenders has two bills that they're going to introduce to the state legislature this year. One of them is the red light bill, and the other one is the motorcycle safety funding bill. Now, we've got sponsors for both bills. We'll be talking to those committees as soon as they're formed. The committees still haven't formed yet. We'll be talking to people on those committees. But you know what? We need every one of you going down to the Capitol building and meeting with your state representative. It's imperative that everybody know who their state representative is. It's imperative that you get involved because, Mel, let me say this. We're getting messages from our European friends, our European bikers, that of what's coming at us if we don't pay attention to what the government's doing. And I'm talking about these nameless, faceless people like the EPA, and especially the EPA, who talks about motorcycle emission standards. And Mel, you want to take it away on what's been going on in Europe? I know you've been reading up on that.
That's precisely where I was going to go after you unleashed me. To give you a good idea of what's coming at you, while you're sitting there, maybe fat, dumb, and happy, is in Europe right now, there are laws being passed over there that will not allow you to take a motorcycle that you own and modify it to any degree. Now, what's the first thing most of us do when we get a bike off the floor, especially today with those lousy catalytic converters? We change the exhaust system, sometimes up to and including a new header system. Well, how would you like it if that motorcycle came fresh out of the factory with snap-off bolts? You try and remove anything off that engine or off that bike, and the bolt's going to break. That's what's happening in Europe. Right here in the United States, you have police departments in several states now being trained on how to identify factory mufflers versus aftermarket, because they're going to start issuing tickets. I know that's going to happen particularly in California here soon. And police officers are being trained for this so that when they stop you, it's no longer what's your decibel reading. They're going to want to look over your equipment. And if they don't see stock equipment on there, you're getting a ticket. There are helmet laws. Now, we can sit and we can debate about helmets day after day. I personally have now started to wear a helmet, especially after I've seen a couple friends go down and what's happened to them. But I still believe that it's my personal choice as to whether or not I wear that helmet or not. The problem is that the feds are trying to, through their Federal Department of Transportation, they're trying to get a rider in on a national level, which will affect us state-wise, that the Department of Transportation, in hand doling out funds to the State Department of Transportation for highway repair, can start heavily suggesting that new safety laws and regulations be passed. That being a helmet law. That's one of their primary targets. Helmets seem to be the big number one target of the day. And unless we stay vigilant and watch for stuff like this happening, in our state levels, they're going to start passing helmet laws on you, and then you aren't going to have the choice. There's motorcycle checkpoints. That's federally funded down to a state level, where the states get federal funding that want it to set up these checkpoints. We all heard the horror stories about the checkpoints being set up on US 95 on the East Coast just before Daytona, Bike Day at Daytona. They set them up at the border, and they stopped them both ways. Bikes were lined up for miles. Fortunately, we have a few states that have come to their senses and have passed legislation banning motorcycle checkpoints because it's discriminatory. And it is. It's flat out discriminatory. I don't see them stopping cars and doing safety checks. You have laws that they haven't even dreamt of yet. I swear to you, you will see a law come out before too long that you're going to have to be strapped to your motorcycle. Some lunatic sitting in some state house somewhere is going to have some harebrained idea that we're safer with a seat belt on a motorcycle than we are being free of it, because they don't understand. They haven't rode. We need to educate these people. Your participation can be to the point of just showing up. And yeah, we are looking for people that will go in and talk to legislators. But if that's not your cup of tea, for God's sakes, at least start showing up. Show them we've got numbers, so that when we go in and talk to them and say, hey, we represent 350, 400,000 bikers in the state of Texas, a few hundred of which are part of your constituency, and this is what we believe, they'll listen to us because they'll have seen the number. Unless they see you guys out there standing behind us to back us up, they're going to think it's BS. What do you think, Mel?
I think so. And just get to what you were talking about a second ago and what I was talking about earlier. Bureaucrats those agencies never take a day off. If they don't get something through, or if we beat something back, they keep coming back at us again and again and again. They don't stop. They keep coming back. That's the reason you got to be involved. We've got to be vigilant. We've got to take it to them. And what we're doing now, compared to what we can do, is just baby steps. We're in our infancy with this. You know, and I see our job is to bring bikers together. Whether you're in a club, independence, whatever, we've got to come together. Otherwise, they're going to run over us. They're going to run over us. And it's like I said, the things we love about our lifestyle, about our motorcycles, it's all going to go to the wayside. They'll have it where you can't wear a vest riding on your bike. They'll have it to where you, just like Mel was talking about, where you do have to have a seat belt on your bike. And let me tell you, as a former road racer, I've always found it's always, especially in a high-speed crash, to get away from that motorcycle. Because if it comes in behind you, it's going to be Hurt City. So you guys, this is the reasons you got to get involved. This is the reasons you have to step up. This is the reasons you have to reach out to other bikers. You know, and I don't care what they're riding. Absolutely don't care what they're riding. We've all got to come together. Now, Mel, you want to spend a few minutes talking about our club, what it is we do?
Sure. We're the Sons of Liberty Riders, and we are named after some true heroes in our country. As a matter of fact, on January 25th this year, coming out on TV is a mini-series about the Sons of Liberty. And these were true patriots that in the beginning, before the American Revolution, They were actually known as the Loyal Nine before they became the Sons of Liberty. And they had people in there such as Sam Adams, Paul Revere, all the names that come to mind when you talk about the American Revolution. And this was the group, they actually originated with the Boston Tea Party. And they pushed forward, became the Sons of Liberty during the Revolution. And beyond that, it's all history. We actually, today, by calling ourselves the Sons of Liberty Riders, you'll notice on our patch we have the image of the Ghost Riders. And we are actually thinking of ourselves as that future generation that is now riding for the original Sons of Liberty. And we become actually actively involved in legislative process, getting legislation introduced at a state level at this point, in the interests of our constitutional laws. Our primary objective here is to follow the Constitution as it was originally written, both at a federal level and a state level, to where government is kept minimal. As a matter of fact, few people realize this, but according to the original Constitution, the federal government was never intended, nor was it to be allowed, to write any laws or enforce any laws. The whole purpose and intent of the federal government was to protect the states from foreign invasion. That's why you see all these movements today where people are reading the Constitution and they're saying, hey, there's not supposed to be an income tax. That was temporary. And all sorts of other things, which is great. You know, I would encourage you to pay your taxes. I don't think it's worth going to federal prison right now, but that's what we're about. We're trying to be the watchdogs of the Constitution and make sure that government honors the Constitution and we keep government at a minimum. We try to attract people that are constitutionally driven and politically driven and willing to become active in that area. And we're more than happy to spearhead that. We're just looking for people to fall behind us and back us up. We have fun runs too, but our hallmark is probably the 9/11 Memorial Ride, which is becoming larger and larger every year. And what we do with that ride is we try to honor not only all of the heroes involved in 9/11, the air crews, the first responders, things like that, but people don't realize that 8 children lost their lives in those aircraft crashes. And we take 8 teddy bears and we take them with us on a ride to the American Airlines Memorial up in Grapevine each year. This last year we had probably a little over 150 riders on the ride. We don't charge anything for that ride. It's not our intent to make any money. But we take this ride up to Grapevine and we do a presentation of those teddy bears to the fire department up in Grapevine, and they take those teddy bears. Now they confessed to us last year they liked the teddy bears so much they kept them around the firehouse for a couple of weeks before they put them in the units.
Yeah, they do.
But and they pass them out first because they get contributions from different stores with teddy bears and things like that during the year. But those bears are used to help distressed children during the year that have gotten into situations or accidents, things like that, and they pass those teddy bears out.
Mel, let me
Yeah,
interject
go ahead.
this. That our group is made up of 3 different sections. There's the ones that actually do the political footwork. Then there's we have an event staff, and then we have researchers. That their job is to go out and research. It was back during the summer we learned about we learned about kinetic warfare, which is nothing more than intelligence gathering. And we got some people that's become quite good at that.
Yes, they have. They have discovered some things that are quite remarkable.
Yes, we can't talk about them all about here, but we've got our own intelligence group, and let me tell you, it's interesting to say the least. And I know politics is not every biker's cup of tea out there. It's hard to get anybody to listen about it, but let me tell you, it's just like we were saying. If we don't get engaged, if we don't get involved, they're coming at us. And I know a lot of people years ago thought I was BSing when I first said that. But it's coming true. It is coming true right before our very eyes. And if you're interested in doing, some political work, working with us, either as another club or as some individuals that'd like to join us, you're welcome to do so. And, you can find us at either TexasBikerRadio.com or visit our website, sonsoflibertyriders.org. And like I said, we are an RC. We formed that this here a few months back. And we don't think it's not great fun, because it is. We've got a bunch of guys that like each other, and we think we're on the right track. And since we got connected with U.S. defenders and met guys like Paul Landers, Steve Cochran, Willie Probst, let me tell you, all the leaders we've met within U.S. defenders and the COC they're a bunch of intelligent guys. They've got it
Smart guys
together.
And a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are. So you guys, we're going to close this out. But before I go, I want to mention this studio. I built this studio here probably a couple years ago, and it is for rent. We can put on a good quality video for anything you might like to get out there, and so we appreciate our producer, Josh Samuels Finkenbinder, who really topped this studio off. I got it started, and let me tell you what he's got now. The type and quality videos we can produce out of here, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible from where we started at. So if you'd like to contact us about the studio and would like to lease it to do a program, let us know. It's not free. We have to pay our bills, but if you would like to do so, get in contact with me.
Couple closing points.
Yeah.
Just to drive home what we've been talking about. The main goal and mantra of liberals is they believe they know what's good for us, because we can't take care of ourselves. And you've heard that time and time again. Great examples of that. And I'll just mention two, and I'll turn it back over to you, Mel. But first of all, if you don't think they're not trying to control what we're doing, look at Michelle Obama with her school lunch program.
Oh, yes.
Okay? She is forcing crap down those kids' throats today on what she thinks they ought to be eating. And appropriately, they're rebelling like hell, and I'm proud of them. It has gone so far that, for God's sakes, even the Pope yesterday came out with freedom of speech to some degree needs to be controlled. How do you guys like that?
Yeah.
Okay? And if you think I'm crapping you on this, it's all over the news. And he was talking about that with Paris, France, and what happened over there. So you got the Pope saying it. You got Michelle Obama trying to tell us what to eat. And you got Obama just being a total idiot anyway. So Okay.
There you go. You know, it doesn't matter, regardless of your political persuasion. The more the two sides fight with each other, the more we keep shifting towards socialism. And, you know, if you're a veteran, you know what socialism is. You've seen it. You've felt it. It's you know it's a controlling style government that you know that people within that system will try and control every aspect of your life. And I just feel that that's not us. That's not us at all. And the last people that'll be standing, the last people that'll be up there battling this tooth and toenail will be the bikers. So you guys make sure to join us and make sure to be there on the 26th in Austin. I look forward to seeing you there, and hopefully we can shake your hand and talk to you for a little bit. As you can tell, we're not professionals because we do make mistakes when we do these videos, but we do the best we can. And we'll catch you on the next TexasBikerRadio.com talk show, which will be done in the next couple of days. Have a good evening, and thank everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Anyway, I probably screwed all that up.
No,
It'll
I
be
think-
messed up at the front.
I think